So in an exercise, I might ask you to composite two images together. And so we're going to go through that workflow now. There's a lot of reasons that you could composite an image together. You could sort of make multiple people appear in certain places. For this image, I'm going to be a little nitpicky, and I'm going to look at this right-hand person here, and I'm really interested in the way that the shape of their hand makes this triangle. In this second image, I'm not so interested in her, but the reaction between these two people here and here is way more interesting than it was in this image. And so what I'm going to do is, before I make any edits, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag both of these images into Adobe Camera Raw. And the way this is going to work is I'm going to go ahead and edit this top image. I'm going to make it a little warmer. I'm going to maybe bring the saturation up, maybe bring the blacks down. I'm certainly going to decrease the exposure. And then if you look, I can press and hold Shift in this film strip area over here. And if I right click, I can sync the settings. So the blue highlighted image will sync all of the settings for any of those highlighted images. And just like the sync setting in Lightroom, I can select which settings I want to sync. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set those up. I'm going to actually go ahead and, just for this demo, I'm going to maybe make this a little bit smaller. I can also then decide to choose if I want to open this as a smart object or not, which I'm going to go ahead and open it as a smart object. And we're going to let those images open up into our Photoshop program. So what we're going to do, the basics of this, is we are going to use what is called a layer mask to sort of blend the two images together. A lot of people would maybe want to use the eraser tool, but the eraser tool you can't undo. And I don't like the eraser tool. Also, because I'm working in this smart object workflow, you're going to remember that I can't actually erase those images. So we're going to say done to that. So now I'm in Photoshop and I have these two images edited exactly how I want to edit them. And so just like I was doing with moving an image into the Diptych, I'm going to go ahead and use the Move tool. So I'm going to press V on the keyboard, and then I'm going to take this image, which you can see is tabbed here to the right, and I'm going to click and I'm going to hold this and drag it to this tab until the new image appears, and then drop it down into the image. Now I'm going to press and hold Shift, and when I drop it with Shift, it's going to drop it in the exact center of that image. Okay, now here's where the magic happens. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Layer, and I'm going to go down to this thing called Layer Mask. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a selection. I can either reveal all of this image or I can hide all of this image. And because I'm sort of blending this together in 50-50, it doesn't matter all that much. So I'm going to say reveal all. And you're going to notice over here, I now have this white mask that is going to overlay. And so whatever color I have on a layer mask, I'm going to select my brush tool. So I'm going to press B, or I'm going to go over here to the brush tool and select that. And you can see that I have the white brush and the black color. And so I can hit D on the keyboard to make those default to black and white. So if that was red and I didn't want it to be red and white, I could hit D so it's black and white. And then I can hit X to switch between white and black over here. And so what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint this person out. So I'm going to use the black big fuzzy brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here at 100% opacity, and I'm going to paint on that mask. And do you see that black start to come up? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually not sort of be so worried about doing this exactly on her. I'm going to hide this in other parts of the image. And so I'm going to go ahead and with my fuzzy brush, I'm going to paint all of this out. And because I was on a tripod and I did not move from image to image, I can now have this mask, and we're going to see it work here in a second. You see I've now blocked out the right side of the image. So if I turn that off, we see a little bit of movement in that shadow. And we can sort of see those too. And then you can see, if I turn the bottom layer off, that mask working. And so actually I'm going to keep that off, and I'm going to go ahead and just get that shadow out so that there's not any overlap. And then what's cool, by using the fuzzy brush, I can fade each of these images into that. So now I'm just going to go File, Save As. I'm going to call this NT back comp 01, and I'm going to keep that original file number. I'm going to maybe put this in a work in progress. This is at the Union Punk House, so I'm going to say save to that. And now I've got a PSD that is saving, that is composited together in a work in progress folder that I can go back to later.